Everyone always asks me how we ended up here at Dogwood Elementary School. In 2010, we had been in what I think is the coolest place to plant a church in our city, in Reston. We were in the movie theaters right in downtown Reston Town Center. And we were doing all the things you're supposed to do as a church plant, but we were stuck. Our church had been about 40 people for a couple of years, and we weren't growing. And so we wore out our shoes just walking around the Reston Town Center, just aching before God to say, God, where do you want us? What do you want us to do as a church? I remember one day I was at work and just walked over to the Reston Town Center and walked up on top of one of the parking decks where I could see our whole city. And I remember looking out over the city and really just saying, God, where do you want us to be? Would you open a place for me? And it was like, it wasn't audible, but it was like clear as day. The Lord reminded me of this place called the Southgate Community Center. It's totally not the most glamorous place in Reston. It's the other side of the tracks. It's the place that you don't go strategically. But I thought maybe that's where the Lord is leading us. And so I was just excited because I felt like I had heard from the Lord and that Jesus was giving us some direction finally. And so I began just a conversation with the community center and with the leadership at the community center. And it was going really well for a while, and they seemed interested in partnering with us, and I saw this as a really strategic opportunity for us, and I felt like I'd heard from God. And then after a couple of months of negotiating, going back and forth, they said no. And it was really discouraging for me because there was that moment where I was praying. I was like, God, I thought I heard from you. I thought that you said this is where we're supposed to go. I thought this was the neighborhood. And this was really the only place I could think of in that neighborhood. And so I got really nervous and I started calling around. I called the county. I said, is there anywhere we could meet? Is there a school we could share with somebody? Because I knew all the schools in the area were being used by other churches. And so I asked the county if there was a place to meet, and they said, well, actually, you could meet at Dogwood in about a month. And I said right away, yes, we'll move there. This is great. Let's go. We'll do it. You know, I've been so focused on Southgate Community Center, but really Southgate Community Center meant this neighborhood. It meant this place in Reston. Really, that meant a heart for the people in our city. What was crazy about coming here is I really saw that God had answered my prayer, that God had spoken. I just had terrible aim. So it was exciting to finally get here and to begin to see God put together really a new season in our church, really where we began to be replanted for the mission that He had sent us on. And so immediately when we got to Dogwood Elementary School, we went over to Southgate Community Center and said, hey, what can we do? How can we help? And very quickly we formed a strategic partnership with them where a couple times a year we are able to help them put on neighborhood festivals. 700 to 1,000 people come out, and we're able to connect with a ton of people in our neighborhood. Every month we partner with Southgate Community Center, Washington Area Food Bank, Cornerstones, and we see 400 to 500 people able to get fresh fruits and veggies, and we're able to connect with them, serve them coffee, get to know them, and they're very tangible things we're able to do. But I think more than that, since we've been here, we've seen new spiritual fruit happen. We're seeing men and women grow in their relationship with Jesus. We're seeing new leaders raised up. We're seeing new pastors raised up. We're seeing people meet Jesus for the first time. We're seeing people be baptized for the first time, going public in their faith in Jesus. And it has been exhilarating to see God begin to grow His church, to see God begin to build His church. And so here we are. We're in this rented facility. We're not promised that we'll be here for a long time, but God is doing a work. He's building for Himself a people. He is growing a deeper dependence on Him and a functional dependence on Him and a deeper love for our city.